All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Super here, and welcome to another video. This one is probably a week too late as far as relevancy, but a lot of people have been asking me what my opinions are on the rumored Marvel fighting game produced by NetherRealm Studios. Yeah, I know, it sounds absolutely insane, and for you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain in a second. But before I do that, I just want to mention that I know a lot of you guys haven't noticed because the streams have been, pretty packed. But I have started streaming again, and this time I'm streaming on YouTube. So you don't have to go to Twitch to watch the stream. You could just, whenever I do stream, which is mostly going to be on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. The streams will pop up in your sub box, but you have to... you have to keep in mind that my Mortal Kombat streams get demonetized no matter what. Like, I tried everything with unlisted streams and they still get demonetized, which really sucks, because that means that some people might not get in their sub box. It's not going to get promoted, blah, blah, blah. So keep an eye out during the weekend, or follow me on Twitter. I'll always announce when I'm going to stream. But yeah, I'm back to streaming. And also, if you want to, show some extra support, definitely not necessary, but I have a link to the membership program, which is like Twitch subs. So if you guys ever want to show some extra love, definitely do so. It's always appreciated. But now let's get into this thing, man. So a lot of people are probably saying a Marvel fighting game produced by a Warner Brothers Studios company. What the hell are you talking about? So maybe 2 weeks ago, there was a prominent leaker who, sometimes he doesn't get his stuff right 100% of the time. It's just rumors, and it's probably, some people telling him what's going on, and, some people might have heard wrong. Some people who told him might have gotten the wrong information, so he's not always 100% correct on his predictions or his leaks. But this person had said that NetherRealm Studios is currently working on a Marvel fighting game. It's currently in production. I don't know. I don't remember if it's deep in production, early in production. I don't remember what the details are. All I remember is that the game is in production. I would probably assume that the game is deep into production because right after NetherRealm Studios finished Mortal Kombat 11, they already start working on their new project. Like, once a game is fully done, even months before that, plans for their next game have already begun. It's been confirmed by Ed Boon that this is how the process works with creating video games, especially with how popular NetherRealm games are and how fast they get produced. Usually it's every 2 years. This time it's been a little bit longer because they wanted to support Mortal Kombat 11 for longer than any other of their titles since, 2011 when MK9 came out. So I asked the community, I asked them, what do you guys think about a Marvel fighting game? What would you want to see? This was my exact post. By the way, before I show what the community thinks, honestly, I think the only way this is going to work is if Warner Brothers and Marvel partner up, meaning if it's a Marvel versus DC fighting game. I really do not think that NetherRealm will be doing a strictly Marvel fighting game. I think it has to be a versus game. It has to be Marvel versus DC. I see the percentage of a Marvel versus DC as like 10% or something, and then I see like a Marvel fighting game made by NetherRealm Studios as like 0.0001%. Because the only way this would work is if Warner Brother were to partner up with Marvel or collaboration for a fighting game, for like a versus game. Because come on, what's the most epic versus fighting game that could be created? Obviously Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter is number one because it has the history. But a Marvel versus DC fighting game would be the best-selling fighting game of all time. Well, I don't know if it would actually beat Smash Brothers Ultimate because that game is just in the league of its own as far as casual appeal and sales, etc. It blows everything out the water, but it would definitely be right up there as very close to the best-selling fighting game of all time. It would be insanely popular. It would break barriers pretty much. between collaborations of companies who a lot of people think are rivals. It would be groundbreaking. So I think that's what would happen if this leak actually comes true. I think it's going to be a Marvel versus DC fighting game. Now, would I want it to be 2v2, 1v1, 3v3? I would really have to think about it, and I would really have to think about what kind of gameplay I would want. Because, of course, the Marvel vs. Capcom games is what traditionally we know versus fighting games for. Even Dragon Ball FighterZ is pretty much a modified version of a Marvel game. You know, it's all crazy. You get flashy combos. You get incredible movement. NetherRealm is definitely not known to do that, even though MKX had very fluid movement. It's not similar to, like, versus games. So I don't know how well they would pull off the 2v2, 3v3 being the core gameplay, to be honest. I mean, they do have the tag system and everything, but as we've seen in Mortal Kombat 11, you know, some of the towers where you could play tag and MK9, there's a lot of stuff that is insanely broken, and I know that could easily be fixed with some adjustments to the game and paying close attention to make sure things are not too broken, because of course it's a versus game. We want things to be broken if it would be a versus game. Just not too broken. I've seen some easy infinites, you know, with the MK9 tag system, or 100% setups. So I would really have to think hard about what I would want as far as a 1v1 game or a 2v2 game. 3v3 would be a little bit too much, I think, for another NetherRealm fighting game. But I think 2v2, 1v1 would be perfect. Thinking about it now, I think a 2v2 game would be like crazy. I think it would be sick. Having assist like you can have in MK9, and having the ability to tag in. They already have like a good base, a good foundation in MK9 tag system. They just need to modify it to make it, you know, more fluid and more balanced. Especially, you know, we're dealing with superheroes here. We could do some crazy shit. So I think a 2v2 game would be absolutely amazing. So that would be my choice, okay? That's my choice. So Marvel versus DC 2v2 fighting game. Now let's move on to the community. My post said, "What's up, everyone? You probably heard of the rumored Marvel fighting game made by NRS. I think their next game will be announced this year. So the wait is on. Which one of these three options would you want the most?" So let me clarify a little bit. Now that we have extended the life cycle of another NetherRealm fighting game for an extra year, I do definitely think that the support for MK11 will decrease. I think there will be one more huge balance patch, but I don't think there's going to be any more DLC characters. That's just my opinion, all right? I hope I'm wrong, because I love MK11, and there's still some characters that I would like to see, but I really do not think that was sick, by the way. Black Manta fell into the interactable. That was awesome. I really don't think there's going to be any more DLC characters. And I think, you know, the preparation is on for the next game that will, I think, be announced this year. When it will be announced, I have no idea. I don't want to get your hopes up. E3 is always a possibility, but I think the best chance of it getting announced would probably be the Game Awards, just because it's like a huge event. The Game Awards have always supported NetherRealm in, you know, reveals. Of course, we had the huge MK11 reveal at the Game Awards. So I think the chances of the next NetherRealm game being announced this year are really, really high, meaning that it will probably release next year in April. So that's just my thought behind that. And now what the community said. The three options were Marvel fighting game, Marvel versus DC, and Injustice 3. This is where things get interesting, because I asked the community, almost 50,000 votes, what do you want to see? And 44, almost half of the votes, were for an Injustice 3. That is shocking to me, because I would think that a lot of people would want to see a Marvel versus DC fighting game. But it just shows you how much love a lot of people have for the Injustice series. Trust me, I have love for it too. My vote is still on the DC versus Marvel fighting game, to be honest. But a lot of people, damn, that Black Manta was going in. A lot of people think that the Injustice series has unfinished business. The story mode left off still as, somewhat of a cliffhanger. They're still unfinished business with the game, and I think rounding it off to, finishing the series with a third and final installment would make sense. So I don't know what's going to happen. Ed Boon has said many things in the past that either come true or don't come true. He said in an interview that the next NetherRealm project is not Injustice or Mortal Kombat. So, that leaves the spot open for a Marvel versus DC fighting game, if that would even be a possibility. He has said that there's been discussions with Marvel before. So this is not something that is just taken out of thin air. There's actually been discussions with Ed Boon and Marvel about potential fighting game. He said this himself in interviews. But at least my fan base and people who, might have gotten this just in the YouTube homepage really think that Injustice 3 needs to happen. They want to see the unfinished business be resolved with Injustice 3, Batman, Supes, and the whole cast. So it's going to be interesting to see coming up later this year. How long do I have with this? Oh, it's about 4 minutes left. It's going to be really interesting to see where things go in the next couple of months, because of course, if there is really no DLC characters coming to MK11 anymore, there won't even be too much mention from Ed Boon about Mortal Kombat, and he'll ramp up the mentions of DC, if it's going to be an Injustice 3. And he's already been talking a lot about Marvel. He had a post about James Gunn directing a project for Marvel and DC. So there's been already some hints about a potential collaboration. But even before this news came out, I already thought that we are going to get an announcement this year of NetherRealm's next project. But I really thought that it would be Injustice 3. No matter what Ed Boon says, I always thought that Injustice 3 was just looming over the horizon, and it was coming for us next year. And I'm cool with that. If it ends up being Injustice 3, I'm totally cool with that. I feel like whatever game NetherRealm puts out next will have a completely different system than in Injustice 2, for example. And of course, it's going to have a completely different system to Mortal Kombat, because those two games don't really feel similar. They have their own unique play style. And Injustice 2 was a legacy game, which I never liked. I always thought that Injustice 2 deserved to have some new stuff. And that's what has me the most excited about NetherRealm's next game is what are they going to do differently gameplay-wise to make the game exciting. So I'm looking forward to it, man. No matter what it is, I think a Marvel versus DC fighting game would be amazing. That would definitely be a dream game for a lot of people. And Injustice 3 would be awesome because, we all love the characters, and we want to see what happens in the story mode with Superman. What the hell is gonna happen with this asshole Supes? So thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. That's gonna be it for today's video. It's just a random video that I wanted to do because I got a lot of requests to do it. I wasn't actually gonna do one, but like I said, I got a lot of requests, and I wanted to share what the community thought about what the hell they want, because I'm surprised that Injustice 3 got 44% of the votes, while Marvel vs. DC fighting game got 32, and then a Marvel fighting game by itself got 24. Definitely surprising results in the poll, but it's going to be interesting coming up in the next couple of months. Any real good updates, juicy updates, potentially juicy leaks or teases from Ed Boon, I would definitely let you guys know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. What's going on? It's Super here, and thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you aren't subscribed already, make sure you guys do so. And if you want to see some more, there's videos popping up on the screen right now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.